Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
Welcome in, House Huddlers. Huddle up! Bob and I got to get that figured out when we're remote because we were way off on ours, but Justin and I,
it's harder remote.
Fire nice.
Which I think we're going to need that today.
We're going to have a lot of fire on this side over here, but welcome into episode 90, which we did not discuss what this was going to be, but episode 90 of the House Huddle Podcast. As always, I am Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On, Justin Onayemi. Who you got?
So it's really obvious, but there's another player that just could not leave my mind. So maybe coming out of the break, I'll say something quick about that player.
Okay. So, the obvious one is probably Julius Peppers.
Yeah, Julius Pepper.
Right.
Peppers. And then
Pepperwood.
That's exactly what I was thinking is, hey, I'm Julius Pepperwood. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
Thin crust pizza? No, thank you.
All right.
New Girl reference. Check it out.
Yeah, New Girl. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Jake Johnson. He is also the voice of the Bears draft or schedule episode, right?
That's right.
So definitely check that show out if you haven't already. Lots of Bears references. Almost as many as, probably more than actually in the show The League, which also has a lot of Bears references. But yeah, I don't even know. I've had a lot of whiskey today, and it's the only reason why I'm probably not yelling already. It's kind of brought me down a little bit, but I know once we start talking, it's gonna come out. So there's gonna be a lot of fire on this side of the room.
I'll try to be ice.
Okay, Bears lose, obviously, right? If you haven't seen that yet, then I don't know why you're here. But Bears lose.
They fall to 1-2.
1-2. We weren't expecting that. I think most people had them either 2-1, or some people even had them 3-0. But there's a lot of football left, right? There's a lot of football left. And I'm going to say this very difficultly. It's not time to panic yet.
Yeah.
At least from a whole. I am going to say, and let me address the podcast that I do with Bob. So on that podcast, I put the title on that podcast, Time to Panic with a question mark, because social media, there were already people out there panicking. There were people out there saying Caleb Williams is a bust. There's people out there saying Shane Waldron is the worst OC in the league. There were people out there saying Matt Eberflus has to go. There was so much panic out there. It was addressed in our episode leading into the Colts game because I thought this was the week where they were going to get things right on offense. In a way, they kind of did, right? At least from a yardage perspective. Caleb Williams finally gets a touchdown or two. Right? He gets 2. The offense took a step forward in many ways. It wasn't the way we thought it was going to be because the Colts, going into this game, were allowing over 200 yards per game, worst rush defense in the league. They lost to Forrest Buckner. You thought for sure they were going to just run the ball. Instead, Caleb Williams throws the ball 50 times.
Well, let's talk about running the ball. I thought in this game, it was very clear that they were having trouble running the ball, but in particular, DeAndre Swift was having trouble running the ball. I thought Roschon flashed well in his limited role, more than what he had coming into the game.
Yeah.
Herbert still very few opportunities, but I don't know the yards per carry. I guess I could look that up real quick. And it wasn't terrific by any of them. Yeah, Khalil Herbert, 4 carries for 9 yards. That's only 2.2 per carry. But that's still better than DeAndre Swift's 13 for 20. Now, you must factor in his negative 11-yard run on 4th and goal from the 1. Can we just talk about that? Because I think that goes away from just running the ball. That's a schematic error. You're running an option to the short side of the field, I believe. It looked like trash, and I know you took a much closer look. So
it was.
Because I want to say, again, I'm not a panic type of person. It's way too early. But major concern about the way this whole offense looks. Now, I just want to also put a little asterisk. They really miss Keenan Allen. But go ahead.
They really miss Keenan Allen. But let me talk real quick about that portion. We're speeding up here. We're moving way ahead into this part of the game, right? Bears at this point are what? Down 7-0, right? Game's still in the grasp, right? In my opinion, we're in 4-down territory. First and goal, I think they were at the 3. I texted it in our group chat. You run the ball 4 times. They did run the ball 4 times, but I didn't expect them to fucking run the ball this way. This is what they did. On first down, direct snap to Khalil Herbert, 1-yard gain. Direct snap to Khalil Herbert, 1-yard gain. You're not fooling anyone.
And how many times did they run out of shotgun?
So let's get to that.
All right, but go ahead.
Second and goal. What do? We don't put I understand Blazing game is out of the picture. Do you not have Mercedes Lewis?
He had another false start, by the way.
Yeah, he also screwed up another play too. We'll talk about that. Do you not have Mercedes Lewis? Do you not have Gerald Everett? Do you not have Cole Kmet?
They found Cole Kmet in the second half. I want to come back to that.
Okay, but I'm talking about as a H-back. You put him in the backfield, get in a power eye, snap the ball, hand it off, run up the middle. You don't get it on second down.
You were finally going against a personnel group that we didn't think would dominate you at the line.
100%.
And you had a chance to just...
100%. So, second and goal. Instead of getting a power eye, or even not even maybe the I formation, but even some type of counter where you think you're going to hand it off to the fullback to the left or the tight end to the left. We've seen Cole Kmet take handoffs before and run it up on first down or on fourth down attempts or third down, short yardage. Why did you hand it off to him or fake the handoff to him and then have Herbert go or just follow him? None of that happened. Instead, it was a shotgun snap handoff. Where does he get? Another yard. Okay, now we're not a little bit less than a yard away from a touchdown. Again, running the ball 2 more times. I don't care about the field goal. You don't do it. You don't get the points, and people want to bitch about it. You're dumb and you don't understand the analytics of football. Sorry. That's just how it works. Third and goal. Shane Waldron doesn't understand the analytics of football because he runs it in shotgun again. Why? You're putting your running back, you're putting your quarterback that much further away from the line of scrimmage. It's harder to run as you're getting the handoff at the shotgun point versus running forward and getting the ball and hitting that hole.
What hole?
Well, that's another problem. So then they try to get cute on fourth down. And this is the play you're talking about. They run the option.
No one thought Williams was keeping it, by the way.
Well, he couldn't. How could he?
Good point. Good point.
If he kept it, he was getting clobbered.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 guys coming unblocked.
Here's the reason why. Go back to that play. Hit the pause button. The only offensive lineman who was still on 2 feet was Matt Pryor.
Kudos, then. I guess it was the right move to start.
Darnell Wright on the ground. Matt Pryor running backwards. Coleman Shelton on the ground.
So wait, Pryor was on his feet, but running backwards?
Running back because he lost his block.
That doesn't count.
No.
All right.
Coleman Shelton on the ground. Tevin Jenkins on the ground.
Jenkins has not looked good.
Jenkins has looked awful. And I'm sorry. Kudos to Ryan Poles for not paying him this offseason because everyone looked at him as an elite guard in the NFL. Now, in my opinion, he was an elite right guard. He has not been an elite left guard, but he's been an above average left guard. He has not been anything at close to average this year. And I can tell he's getting frustrated. You can see it in his press conference questions afterward. It's been a rough start. We can't even talk about it anymore. The offensive line, this is where I use the word panic. And I put this in our chat, our text group, me, Justin, Bob. And Bob and Justin are the ones that are obviously, they like to calm me down. We talked about this, right? They calm me down. I'm still hitting the panic button when it comes to this offensive line because what are you going to do? You can't change anything at this point.
So Pryor starts over Nate Davis today. Partially, you could say maybe injury related because Nate Davis was questionable coming in.
But he was still the backup.
But
in fact, he came in.
Right. But that's what I want to point out. So Braxton Jones, who keeps getting bull rushed. We thought that was rookie year. He'll put on get the muscle and he'll stop. No, we're in year 3. He's getting bull rushed right on into his quarterback.
Yeah.
At times. But he got injured. And so the move was Davis comes back in now at right guard. Pryor went to left tackle.
Yeah.
So to me, that means they think their best 6 are the people they've been starting plus Pryor. Karana Magaji, I know he started injured and now he's got to ramp up, but you would hope if you are going to look at this as like, what the heck's going on with this line? Everything's in play. Guys like Amagaji and even maybe Doug Kramer, you'd want to see the field. And here they are putting Davis right back in when they had the first opportunity.
I think I mentioned it on the podcast on Thursday, Wednesday, whatever day it was when I recorded with Bob. I'm tired of the continuity talk because it's not making a difference.
Bad continuity doesn't help.
No. And I just want guys to get an opportunity at this point. Nothing could look worse than what we are already seeing. This team going into this game had only had 4 quarterback pressures. 4. Well, they got a hell of a lot more today. They got multiple sacks, including a strip sack, which that was the play that I was talking about with Mercedes Lewis. Another issue. Let's talk.
How many times do we let tight ends just block DNs one-on-one?
Yes, let's talk personnel issues. Okay, Cole Kmet trying to block
Latu.
Yeah, wait. Here's the thing. You go back and watch it. It actually wasn't supposed to be a Cole Kmet one-on-one. Mercedes Lewis blocked nobody.
I think I saw actually in real time.
And then he ran backwards, so clearly he was supposed to be pass blocking. He wasn't a
two of them on him, 2-on-1 there.
And if that was the case,
well, and Williams had started to click a little bit more. I think that's something we should talk about later.
I want to see the all-22 because I want to see if he was getting ready to rip, and I want to see if somebody was open.
That's true. That was a pivotal part of the game where everything just went. Another pivotal play, and on the whole, the Bears didn't get penalized nearly as much as the Colts, but theirs were huge.
The Colts
the fourth and two punt, and you get
the old head bob
encroachment.
The old head bob. That's what
crushed
Matt
the
Eberflus
defense.
called it.
This defense, you've said elite. I mean, I'm not putting that only on you. They're very, very, very good.
Yeah,
they've been put in terrible situations and keep coming through enough. Even in this game, you still only lose by a single possession. And you had so many opportunities. You owned time of possession. You had more first downs almost by double. Yardage. I mean, some of it's inflated. The Hail Mary at the end of the half and all sorts of things. But that's all what kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Because they're clearly not gelling, clicking. They miss Keenan Allen. There's all sorts of things.
Do you know
But you look around the league, and there's a lot of teams stumbling out of the block.
Yes.
I mean, the Bears were 0-4 last year and still were on the bubble type of thing.
That's true.
Or whatever. They're better this year. Even in these games where they don't deserve to win. Because quite honestly, they didn't deserve to win today. They could have. They didn't deserve to win in week 1. And they did. And so I keep saying it. You don't play your division until week 11. Things better look way different. But you got to get some of these W's against the teams that you have on your schedule right now.
Everybody else in Division 1 today.
Yep,
Chicago is in last place.
Minnesota, who we thought was the laughingstock, are 3-0.
Coaching matters.
Let's talk
in
about
the
that.
NFL. Coaching matters big time in the NFL, way more than what people, think in other sports. And it's true in other sports. I mean, look at what happened when LeBron James was in Cleveland, right? Like, I can't even remember the guy's name, but like
Tyronn Lue?
No.
Mike Brown?
No, who was their coach?
These are coaches.
Oh, those are, yeah. See, I don't follow basketball enough. No, he was Eric Spoelstra.
He was in Miami, but I don't know
Miami.
You're losing me,
that's
man.
right. It was Miami.
Okay.
Not when. Yeah. When he went down to Miami, and what's his face left. He was the coach. The older guy. Thank you. See, you know where I'm at.
It's the Bears podcast here, people.
I'm not a basketball fan. They're third. NBA is third in my sports rankings. Okay. Anyway, the point being, Eric Spoelstra did nothing. Okay, MLB is my number 2.
Really?
It is. I'd much rather watch a baseball game than a basketball game.
That shocks me.
But then I'm a White Sox fan, and it's like, what the fuck am I thinking? So, yeah, exactly. It's also because I played baseball and I didn't play.
We can
basketball.
only suffer through one Chicago sports team at a time. Please
You're
don't
right.
mention the White Sox ever again on this
What
show.
are they at? 118 losses.
I think worse. But
Okay. Anyway, so getting off the rails here. The point is that
Coaching matters.
In basketball, it doesn't matter as much. In football, it's very important. It's very important. And scheme matters, right? And you're seeing guys like Matt LaFleur make Malik Willis, who everyone thought was complete trash, looked very, very good today. Very, very good against the same team that the Bears almost lost to in week 1.
In the second half, we'll take a break in a little bit here. In the second half, I did write down some pluses and some minuses.
Yeah.
But I can just tell you, and I kept it kind of short. I had 3 minuses in total. I could have had a lot more than that. But that's because some of them are so big. I just put Waldron. Like, we need to talk about Waldron.
Yeah.
And then Eberflus's command. Okay, you saw it last week with the bad challenges. Today, you call timeout to go for 2 when you're down 11. Like, myself, my dad, and my son are watching the game. We already had this discussed. Mm-hmm. You're down 11. You score, you go for 2.
Yeah.
Cuts it to a field goal. What's the calculus you're doing?
The
now,
analytics.
If Bob is right about the orchestrated celebration that Rome and Caleb had, if that was the distraction, but it seemed like the problem was Santos and the kicking guys were already out on the field.
But here's the thing. I shouldn't even say this. I give Eberflus slight credit. He was already saying 2. He was already saying go for 2.
He did something like this, and people ran out, and then he said this, and then he looks and is like, "What?"
But it was the people behind. I don't know which coach it was.
He's in command of the whole operation.
100%.
And it looked like crap. And that timeout mattered.
It should have been verbalized to everyone on that sideline who has power. Shane Waldron, Hightower, all of them. Chris Morgan, who, I don't know why he has any power. All of them should have been aware as they were marching down the field. We are going for 2.
Right.
Do not send Cairo Santos out there. Right. But because it wasn't, like you said, he didn't take command of everything, they looked like fools.
Well, and now I'm wondering, too, I just thought of this now. If you look like crap and you think burning a timeout was the solution, why not just take the penalty and then go for 2 from a little farther away? I mean,
sometimes that's even easier.
Exactly. But it looked bad and it ended up mattering.
No, so I will
his
say,
command is a problem, I think, right now.
I will say, and I called it out in real time, because I thought that they got the touchdown. The Indianapolis Colts, the Jonathan Taylor touchdown, when they got very close, right? They got very, very close. And it was, I think, second down, right? 5-ish minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, and he called his
second timeout. And in my mind, I was like, well, why would you do that? You're letting them review the play more to see if you could challenge it. But then they showed the replay, and I was like, oh, yeah, he wasn't even close. That was a smart timeout, and people were questioning. In fact, the media was questioning him.
No, I was fine with that one
because you are conserving.
The other
time.
one you just gave away.
You gave it away,
and they matter.
It did. Technically,
so many games come down to one possession, and in one possession, you're gonna need a timeout.
Yeah.
In certain situations.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. I'm gonna calm down a little bit, and
we'll go over some of the actual pluses that were out there.
Yeah, I had 2.
I got 4, but one's a sneaky one, so I don't know if it counts.
All right. Well, for now,
enjoy these ads.
Enjoy.
And we are back. Hallis Huddle, episode 90. Julius Pepperwood. Julius Peppers. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, chat. We're in this together, folks, through the ups and the downs. As we see, there are ups and downs to all this. Well, I still think of a future that's going to be something special, I hope.
And speaking of, if a lot of times the comments are going to be talked about on other episodes, because we're not doing a lot of these live right now. So if you want to be a part of the show, definitely hit that comment section, and you'll probably be discussed in one of the, I'll discuss stuff Thursday with Bob, and if stuff on Thursday might be discussed today with you.
Yep, absolutely. Also, we do have a sponsor, which is betstamp.com/huddle. You'll get special deals no matter where you are in the country or world, I think, but let's just say country.
I mean, I know Canada's included.
Okay. A few countries. Anywhere you're at, it will give you the best deals on new users for various sports books in your area. And then their site guides you on getting the best number and advice. We probably should have taken some of that advice today because we had a bad day in our UFFL
Two
league.
really good weeks, and then we had a rough.
This was
betting
not
day
the
today.
one.
I will say,
the league is upside down, which is another reason I'm not panicking.
Carolina
about the Bears.
destroyed the Raiders today with Andy Dalton, who also threw for over 300 yards. But I actually went on and bet on the Bears winning. As I was texting the group saying, hit the panic button when it comes to the offensive line, hit the panic button on Shane Waldron, which we'll talk about in some point before the end of this show. I also went out and bet the Bears to win the game because the odds were plus 550.
Sometimes that's what you're playing,
and then it almost happened.
They take people's money because it didn't happen. But
correct. And I didn't mind giving away my coffee money because I don't drink coffee.
All right, so I guess throughout the rest of this second half of the episode, we can talk positives and negatives. I know you don't have too many positives, so should we start with a negative?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I think the
More
biggest
than
one
what
we have
we've
in common,
addressed.
the biggest one in common we have is just Shane Waldron.
Yeah, let's just
and the overall aesthetic of their offense. It doesn't make sense at times.
No.
Some plays and calls are just bad. There was a wide receiver screen to Moore where Caleb could have thrown a much better ball, but it was a terrible play call.
Yes.
And so even had it been a better ball, I don't see where that was going.
Nope.
So I'm not panicking about it. I'm just concerned. And the thing that really boggles in my mind is the kind of talk we were hearing in training camp, which is just training camp. I mean, that's what it is, preseason, all that. Teams step it up when it's real, I guess. And it does not look acceptable or good.
No, they kept saying iron is sharpening iron. You're going up against good defense, which we've clearly seen. The beginning of the year typically is more geared towards defenses in the NFL, so that I completely understand. But it's just, we talked about it a little bit with the personnel issues. We talked about already with Cole Kmet trying to block a defensive end, right? Like it's happened on multiple occasions. It's not like just this one time. We've talked about how in other episodes, how the pass blocking scheme is just not making sense. Guys are are required to move too far out, too far up. The amount of space that they have to. We've seen this team at least be a good running team with basically the same guys. So it's really confusing to me how it's this bad, even from a running perspective.
I wouldn't say the same guys at all, though.
I mean, every single one of them were here except for Shelton.
Okay, you take away Shelton.
That's it.
And you take away Justin Fields.
Correct.
I think that's a big part of what the Bears running game was super inflated, not just in his yardage, but in his threat of what
I was going to say. So maybe his running ability did open things up, right, for the running backs. Because here's the thing. Khalil Herbert led the league in yards per carry 2 years ago. Last year, he was averaging over 4 yards per carry. So it wasn't just Justin Fields that was gaining yardage from an efficiency standpoint. But maybe because he is that good at running the ball, they're more concerned about that, and it was opening up the door for the running backs. That I can definitely get behind.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what I'm saying. Okay. So I expected they would step back a bit.
I didn't think they would step back this much.
This has been bad.
Like, did anyone even average more than 3 yards per carry? Maybe Roshan.
So let's take a quick look here.
Again, let's go to the personnel issues
Roshan,
for a second.
8 carries for 30 yards, which is a 3.8 average. But I also liked what he did as a receiving back today. He caught 4 balls on 5 targets for 32 yards.
That one third down conversion where he shaked and baked.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But again, it goes back to the Shane Waldron personnel issues. Why is he not the guy you saw him driving through the line. Why is he not getting those goal line carries?
Dude, I mean, like in Madden, you even know, okay, who's my goal line back? Who's
100%.
my third down back? Like,
where's my Mike Tolbert, right? Like, I want the guy who's going to, like, what was the guy in Green Bay who would always vulture touchdowns? Boone? Coon. Yeah. Again, guys like that who just vulture touchdowns, right? Like, that's who I want. Like, put that guy in there and run through. Give me Refrigerator Perry, for Christ's sake, right? Like, come on. The personnel things are an issue. We also saw DeAndre Carter, which, by the way, let's talk about him for a second in a different perspective. But before we get there, Why is he containing the defensive end?
Yes.
Like, come on.
That was one of the plays where that was on that same drive you broke down.
Same drive.
He just gets blown up by a D end.
Because he can't block a defensive end.
No, he cannot. Why would that be your scheme? Why is he in?
Exactly. Should not be in. Should not be in at all. You give me all 3 of your tight ends before you give me him.
You are going big. You're first and goal from the 3, like
Yes.
you said. This should be your heavy package.
I don't even want Keenan Allen out there.
Well,
I'm saying, if you're running the ball,
Eh.
I don't need Keenan Allen out there.
You were to the point of you could even tell the defense, we're running the ball 4 straight times on you, and we're going to score.
Yes, that's what it should be.
I still think there should be some deception on would they. Bob in our chat says, anytime you're in a position like that, Odunze should be getting a look in the end zone.
Odunze should be there. Cole Kmet should be there. Like, those 2 guys are your red zone targets, right? Like,
so the word that keeps coming up, at least that I've been hearing, is identity. They don't have an identity.
But here we are.
That's
again.
ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous to me. How would you not have something that you're trying to establish? But we are this. We do this.
But aren't we tired of that? Like, that's where I'm at. I'm very angry, but I'm also just tired. Like, at one point in our chat, I was like, why am I subjecting myself to cheering on this team when I get my hopes built up, when things happen that I think on paper look really, really good, and then it just doesn't come together, and I'm tired of that feeling. I will say, Shane Waldron, I've seen a lot of people online talk about how, he's just another Luke Getsy. I don't think Shane Waldron's Luke Getsy. I don't at all. Do you know who I think he is, though? I think he's another version of Matt Nagy. Because
too cute.
The personnel issues are stupid. I know he's limited with some of the things he has, but
do something with your personnel that's their strength.
If you go look at,
not just run your system.
I think we've talked about this before. Maybe not on the show, but like just us. But Sean McVay, which Shane Waldron is somewhat connected to that scheme, right? The Kyle Shanahan tree. He doesn't do a lot of personnel changes, right? Like, he actually lines up a lot of times
every play
in
to look the same.
Yes.
And the Bears today, I noticed there were so many times where they did like the same motion.
Yeah.
A guy would go in motion and it looked the same every time. And I know sometimes you're doing that just to see, are they in man? Are they in zone?
And you build things up.
Exactly. But that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we're seeing that kind of nuance. But again, it's game 3 of him rolling this out.
Yes.
But some of the decision making, and like you said, it's personnel, but it's also what you're asking your personnel to do.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about both sides of it. So that's a lot of negative. Can we go positive?
Yeah.
I better start because I know you don't have too many. And maybe talk about them together. But like, to me, you saw a glimpse of what Rome Odunze can do.
Yes.
And you saw what Cole Kmet can do.
Yes.
We knew, but Shane Waldron did not know. Yeah. But today he found out. So I thought both those guys, gave you reasons to believe. Now, it could have been even better, but Caleb Williams is missing a lot of his deep balls. Even when he has time to throw.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's going to be something that's going to like plague him throughout his career or even throughout this season. And so I keep keeping those in mind as well. I mean, the man threw for 363 yards, and I can think of multiple throws downfield that were bad throws by him. And if they were good.
Well, and the one to it, Odunze wasn't even like that far off, where he rolled out, almost got sacked, rolled out to the left, and, did his.
Right.
Like, that's his thing, right? Like,
soon they're going to be connecting on
those. It wasn't
those.
That far off.
And at that time in the game, I think I even said something like, soon they're going to connect on these. And when you look at Odunze at the end of the game, 11 targets, which led the team, tied with Cole Kmet. On those 11 targets, you'd like to see more than 6 catches. But it says, I don't know if this is accurate because I saw his number higher than this earlier. So maybe it got refigured. 6 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown.
Okay. I knew it was
I saw it up near 120.
Okay. I knew it was over 100. I didn't know what the exact total was.
Cole Kmet, 11 targets, 10 catches, 97 yards. So both those guys, to me, really showed out. And you roll Keenan Allen back into this. I don't know what's going on with DJ Moore, but he had an okay game. Granted, 44 were on that Hail Mary, but that play happened.
It did.
And he did exactly what you're supposed to do in that situation.
Unfortunately, the Colts defender also did what he's supposed to do, is wait at that line and make sure no one gets in.
You're right. So I gave you a 2 for 1 there. 2 positives I saw, but what else?
I'm going to build off of that because my one positive was also Caleb Williams throwing for 363 yards. Okay. That set a Chicago Bears rookie franchise record. Who did he beat? Mitch Trubisky. Right. So, like, there are some positives that we saw there. And look, he left a lot out there. It could have been over 400 yards today.
Yeah.
Right? It could have been. That being said, let's back up a second.
So one of my positives, I said Caleb Williams stat line, even though not as much as the eye test.
Right. So he had 2 touchdowns. He finally got on the board there. Right. So 2 touchdowns, also threw 2 interceptions. Now he's 2 and 4, I think, on the year.
Yeah.
Also had the fumble, which we've already addressed a little bit, which I think we both said just can't happen, right? Like, I know it was bad on the offensive line, on the tight ends, but sometimes, like,
you got to sense it and protect the ball.
And I know there wasn't a lot of space to step up, and it looked like he was really ready to rip.
That came right after their best drive of the game. So you thought, hey, carry this on, and then immediately it's just stifled, just put out like a candle.
So, and you said, like, stat line can be a little deceiving. Well, here's the real factor is the rookie record holder was Mitch Trubisky. Where is Mitch Trubisky now? These stats could literally mean nothing.
They should do like a VH1 special on
Where
that.
is he now?
So we kind of both have the same positive there.
We did.
You know, you mentioned the turnovers, and one of those picks is completely on Caleb Williams.
Oh.
It's a 3rd and 4, and DeAndre Carter, who's like apparently his favorite target now, or Waldron's, I'm not sure, is, I would think, open. But even if he wasn't open, that was the throw. Make the throw. He holds it, and then he floats it out there, and it's intercepted. So
he's lucky it wasn't a pick 6.
It could have been. So that was just at the portion of the game where there was a lot of him hesitating and holding the ball too long. To his credit, as bad as the O-line is, he tries to stay in the pocket.
Oh, 100%.
Which is weird to me. Like, you almost would think it's the opposite. Like, you'd get these happy feet and want to escape right away. And again, that's something that makes me feel like there's hope and promise, is he's making a lot of the right reads, and then other things are happening, like bad throws or holding on to it too long. But read-wise and being able to stand in there, I think he's shown some positives.
I think
sometimes too much.
Here's the thing. Let's take one step back before we go back to the negatives and positives so we can wrap this show up. The Chicago Bears were not supposed to win the Super Bowl this year. We have said that multiple times. Our expectations were somewhere between 8 and 12 wins, right? And it's the NFL. We talked about it. Parity. We've seen a lot of teams that should have won that completely lose. Out of nowhere, teams like have amazing games. Like, things happen in the NFL. There aren't typically, what it is there's a few teams that are really, really good, a few teams that are really, really bad, and everyone else is somewhere in the middle. And you have these games where it's 1-score games, and that's what the NFL wants. They want these games to go until the last minute, right? They want you to have to think, oh, well, they lost last week by 20, but 2 weeks ago they won by 15. Can they do it now? I mean, they want this. This is what they want. And they're getting it. But going forward, whether they bring Keenan Allen back or not, you have DJ Moore. You have Roman Odunze, which you've seen now. We know what DJ Moore can do. We've seen Roman Odunze, who's playing on a messed up MCL still. What needs to happen, if they don't address the offensive line with their first and probably second pick or a top free agent signing, there needs to be drastic change to this offensive line between now and next year, or it won't matter who the quarterback is. It won't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It won't matter how good your defense is, because we're going to just keep revolving, just this revolving door.
So I agree. We need to wrap this up, and I don't want to just speculate, but maybe something for you and Bob to talk about. But like, in that scenario, is this a new head coach and another new system?
We'll be talking about
like,
that.
I mean,
Thursday.
so
Wednesday.
there's a lot ahead. I put here, this defense doesn't deserve this offense. I'm serious.
100%.
The offense keeps putting them in horrible positions, and like the defense will be on the field, and I'm like, okay, maybe we can score now.
Did you hear or see that? You probably didn't. DeAndre Swift actually apologized to the defense today for how poorly they played.
They should.
Yeah. You better freaking get out.
Their third down conversion rate was pretty awful. Granted, they were 4 for 5 on fourth down.
Yeah.
Well, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Except for the one that mattered.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I suppose. I suppose you're right. You couldn't run against the worst run defense in the league. So
yeah. Oh, one real quick thing too. And I keep shouting about it. We saw it in the preseason. The moving of the pocket. Going back to Shane Waldron, I know we're off topic here, but like we finally saw it start happening in the second half, and it was like leading to things, but then it just disappeared again. And I know they were like up against the clock and all that, but like, why are they not doing what was working for them in the preseason? I understand it was the preseason, but like, it's usually the opposite.
Right.
Like you're not moving the pocket in the preseason. Then it's like, oh, let's roll out this way. Yeah. Let's roll out that way. Let's shift this way. Like, it's like he showed all of his cards in the preseason, and now it's like, what's going to happen next?
I'm not sure, but something for you and Bob to discuss. I want to see Rojo get a lot more touches moving forward.
Yes.
You know, you said they're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they also declare that they're in like win now mode. Like you're in, go win. So yeah, you're paying Swift more money than you're paying Rojo, but if the production is going the other way, so should the opportunities.
Yes, who cares?
Put the team out there that's going to help you win.
We're seeing it now with Nate Davis, right? Like they made the call to put Pryor in. I know they're saying it's injury related, but
and that's not me saying that Swift can't have a role on this team. In fact, maybe he'd be better if he's being featured in and just come in certain situations. Yeah. But I think Rojo needs a little bit more. He had 8 carries and 4 targets, so that's a lot more than he had been getting, and I think he showed something with those.
Yeah, I mean, what he does differently to me is he just hits the hole and runs north to south.
Yeah.
Where too often we're seeing, you know, Khalil Herbert actually does it too, but like DeAndre Swift too many times is trying to be fancy and get to the outside. And again, I don't know if it's also play calling, the blocking schemes, but it's just not working. It's not working. And I don't know. I know you guys are in agreement when I say you guys, you and Bob, that we shouldn't be panicking. And I agree overall we shouldn't be panicking. I am panicking about the offensive line.
Let's just say something. Next week, you got the Rams at home. Now, they beat the 49ers, but you got the Rams at home. You got Carolina. You have to win that game. I know
without Bryce Young.
I know it's not Bryce Young, but you have to win that game. And then you go to London for Jacksonville, and then you're bye. So these next 3 games, like
you got to win at least 2.
I think you have to win 2 to like have things feel okay.
Yeah,
you're 3-3 at the bye, and
I'd be fine.
You could be worse, you could be better, but you're 3-3 at the bye, and hopefully things are clicking a little more. Now, anything short of that, we'll have to figure some things out.
Is that when the panic button hit?
Well, you can have the conversation at that point. Even in my mind, if you're coming in 2-4 or worse,
all right,
then yeah.
The title of this will not be about the panic button because I agree that we are not there yet.
All right, appreciate it.
I just disagree that we're not there with the offensive line.
Okay, fair enough. Pressing that button doesn't do anything now, though.
No, it doesn't. Can we get the easy button? Right? Staples? Wait, no, they went out of business.
not a good call there. We're sponsored by Staples.
All right.
All right, man.
That's it. Guys, enjoy the rest of this week. I know it's a tough one, but check out BetStamp. Hit that subscribe button. Get entered into the free drawing for Bears jersey. And that's it. Bear down.
Bear down.
Claws up.